Well, hello, my friends. I am so excited to be here with Ashley Kuhn. She is the interim executive director for Girls Inc. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite events coming up. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So, Girls Inc., let's just talk a little bit about the organization and who you serve. It's been around and making such an impact in the community.
It really is. So Girls Inc. serves girls 5 to 18. I always like to say it's kind of that organization that wants to plant that spark. Us as women, at some point in our lives, get that spark where you kind of start to realize who you are and who you want to surround yourself with and what you want to do when you get older and what your hobbies are. And I always say Girls Inc. is that spark. So they just give girls access to just everything and anything to help ignite that spark. So there's anything from academic to sports to dance, cooking, gardening, bees, chickens, you name it. We've got a little bit of everything inside of Girls Inc.
And I know the impact that it's made on girls over the years, especially, what kind, is this throughout the Omaha Metro? Is it, or specifically targeted in a certain area, or it's just,
So Girls Inc. is actually a national
yes,
organization.
yes,
Omaha is a chapter of that national
right.
organization. We serve North and South Omaha, and really just all about teaching girls how to be strong, smart, and bold, and then also, leadership skills and things like that.
Yeah, which is so important. I have to tell you, this year's lunch for the girls, um, and I will admit, I personally just started to learn more about your speaker, who is Deborah L. Lee. Um, but lunch for the girls, it's been going on. I think it started in 2002.
Mhm. And we've had some amazing speakers over the years. We've had, at the time, it was Senator Barack Obama. We've had Michelle Obama. We've had Chelsea Clinton. We've had Malala. We've had, you name it. It's been incredible to have all these folks come to Omaha and speak to us as a community, but also our girls.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to add a few more because I'm actually looking on the website, which is girlsincomaha.org. Desmond Tutu, and you've had Billie Jean King, and you've had Barbara Bush and Jenna Bush. It's just such an amazing uh group of people that are just kind of in their own right, are doing so much in the world, but they're also just so unique. So I just every year it's just so fun to learn who the speaker is. So let's
Yeah.
talk about Deborah L. Lee. So tell us about her.
So Deborah Lee, former chairman and CEO of BET, Black Entertainment Television, and she really was the person for BET that pushed it from just being videos, music videos. Used to log into MTV and BET, and it was just music videos all the time. And she was really the person that took it from that to they have record-breaking TV shows now and documentaries and news and all this content. And it was her vision that took it from what it was to what it is today. She's incredible, and she's one of the few Black women CEOs that have been able to do what she's done.
Well, and it just to me, I love it. Just how the energy of just women in general, infusing it into whatever industry and company, how I don't know, I just think things can just explode in ways that not to, I just think women really have something that adds so much to a company. And
Yeah.
I mean, that yourself because you have your company as well, and have done amazing things with you and
Thank
your
you.
partner.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
and
welcome.
I read that book from that Deborah Lee's got
Yep.
is I Am Deborah Lee. And it was interesting to see her, she talks about how she started her career and she just kept her head down and she was always just so grateful to be in the room and so grateful to have the positions that we have. And I think that's what a lot of women do is just grateful for where we're at. And then
Yeah.
we have that awakening where we're like, I should be running this thing.
Right. Right.
I'm bigger than this. And then all of a sudden we come out of our cocoons and we're somewhere where we should be. And it was really
Yeah.
interesting to read her book and see her go through that evolution of just kind of keeping her head down to boss.
Yeah. Now, for the event itself, are you, because I've been to it, I mean, I've been to it many times, but are you honoring other people? Are you honoring girls, or kind of walk through the agenda of the
Not.
event?
So the luncheon really gives the opportunity for us to showcase what Girls Inc. has been doing for the
Yeah.
year, give the girls an opportunity to get up and get some public speaking opportunities,
Yes.
tell some
Yeah.
stories of, mission things that have been delivered over time. The girls get an opportunity to interview Deborah Lee or whoever our speakers have been in the past. They get an opportunity to ask their own questions, and then we get into the actual speaker giving their speech. So it's a fun, quick event, lunchtime. So you don't, everybody's got busy work days, so it gives you the opportunity just to come in at lunchtime and hear the stories and then listen to Deborah Lee also.
Yeah, and like you said, I actually love watching these girls do the interviewing and sharing their stories. I mean, that is just truly, I mean, honestly, I think it's just magical for them to have that opportunity, and they take advantage. I mean, they take advantage of it. They're excited, and they just really they learn from it, and it's so awesome.
I'm always amazed. I think at that age, there's no way that I'm getting on a stage in front of,
Right.
sometimes thousands of people
Yep. Yeah.
to ask a question, especially to somebody that's so powerful and that on a
Yeah.
global scale. I'm always amazed at how confident they are when they get up on that stage.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about before we get into the specifics. So, kind of, we don't have to go too far down the rabbit hole, so to speak. So, you have been the interim for you stepped into that position when?
May.
Okay,
So until now.
yeah, and so because Roberta Wilhelm, that everybody, I mean, everybody knows, and she did such a great, just amazing job there. So, um, you're possibly getting close to maybe filling the role again.
Yes, we're in the final stages. We've got a start date for our new executive director. And so I'm just here to make sure that our Rockstar Girls Inc. staff has a point of contact
Yeah,
and making sure that everything gets moving forward. Summer's our busy season, so we needed to have somebody there day in and
yeah.
day out to make sure that the girls were being served the way that we promised them to be served. But yeah, we are in the final stages of our new ED, and I am so excited for who we've got.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait till you make the announcement. Let me just ask you real quickly, who how many girls do you serve? Sorry, how many girls do you serve typically?
So over a year, about 1,000 girls a year. We are also just getting ready to do a capital campaign to raise money for our South Center. So if you've ever
Okay.
been to the North Center, it's beautiful, it's new. We did in addition to the old building that we used to occupy, and then we recognize that there's a disparity between North and South. So as an organization, we want to make sure that we're serving both North and South equally.
Right.
So we are getting ready to do a capital campaign to raise money to do our South Center. And so once we get that capacity up, we'll probably be closer to 1,500 girls a year.
Okay. That's amazing. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Lunch for the Girls. It's Thursday, September 14th. I'm assuming that it's at the CHI Center. As
Absolutely.
all because this draws in a lot of people, a lot of business people, a lot of it's amazing. And I think over the, we've been dealing with some stuff over the last few years where attendance, I think one year it was virtual, but attendance, this is something that people look forward to. And like I was sharing with you earlier before we got on, before we started to record, it's just like, who's going to be the speaker this year? Who's going to be the speaker this year? So give us a little bit more specifics about where people can find information out and anything else that we need to know.
So they can go to girlsincomaha.org to get tickets, to find out more information, get all the logistics of how to get there. But if you, like you said, it's down at the CHI Health Center, and it'll be at lunchtime, 11:30 to 1. It's quick. I used to think before I really was active in Girls Inc. that it was like, oh, I'm giving to the girls, I'm giving. But when you go to the luncheon like this, you really get from them. It really feeds your soul to see just how incredible this next generation of girls are and what they're capable of. It's really exciting to see. So do go to girlsincomaha.org, join us at lunch. Don't have to do much, just show up and support.
support and just be ready to be inspired and walk out of there like, what else, what can I do today? What can I do today
Yes.
to make a difference in the world and to contribute? So all right, Ashley, thank you so much for joining me today. Again,
Thank you for having them. You're incredible, and I'm
yeah,
always excited when I get to
well,
talk to you.
thank you. And again, this event, Thursday, September 14th, it's going to be here before you know it, girlsinkomaha.org. And hopefully I'll see you
Don't
soon,
miss it.
Ashley.
Yes, don't miss it. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And folks, don't go away. We will be right back. Well, hello, my friends. I am so excited to be here with, first of all, a good friend, amazing woman, Brooke Hudson. She is the producer of Omaha Fashion Week, celebrating 15 years this
Yep.
year, coming up like in a week or so.
Oh my
Brooke,
gosh. It's about 2 weeks.
yeah,
I
yeah,
need as much time as I can get.
I know, but thank you so much for joining me.
I'm so happy to be here. I feel like I haven't been on for a long time, so it's really great to reconnect.
Yeah, it's been a while, and you know, this, I mean, I always think about you, and first of all, this huge event that has been happening for the last 15 years. Before we hit record, I mean, like you said, you've been really involved in 13 years, and talk about
Mhm.
how it has evolved, and all the different components. Because I
Mhm.
think, I mean, back when it started, it really was like a one night show, right?
It was, yeah, it was an incredible idea and very well received, but it was just a one night show and it had 12 designers and about 20 models. And I'm not even sure how many makeup and hair folks we had backstage at that time. I was in the audience as a spectator for that
Right.
one. It was a moment in time I'll never forget. But yeah, it was a very different vibe, and it was outside on Jones Street, and it
Yeah.
was an open air event. And we had people on the 10th Street Bridge looking down, watching the runway. It was an incredible experience. And so over the years, it's really kind of evolved into not just a one night show, but it's becomes kind of a full week's worth of events.
Yeah.
And we do a lot more now with really working with designers. We have a very rigorous selection process for designers. And once they are accepted into our show, then they receive all of the production for free. The only thing they have to pay for is just their materials and the time that it takes for them to do the collection. And I was actually just reflecting on this last night because I have to write a producer's letter for the magazine that we published for the season.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was thinking about was what the clothes look like 15 years ago
Yeah.
versus what they look like today, and how the quality, the work was great 15 years ago, but I feel like what we've done in helping designers get more skills and get more resources through like the Fashion Arts Collective, Metro Community College, and UNL,
Yeah.
all of that has really led to higher quality garments on the runway. And also just helping designers develop their own point of view in fashion so that what they're creating is truly unique. It's not just another little black
Yeah.
dress they're sending down the runway. This is something that's very unique. It's unique to their life, to the culture here in Omaha. And what we're seeing, the result of that is that we have this event on the Sunday after Fashion Week called Shop the Runway Sunday. And we bring the designers in, we give them all racks, and we invite the public in to shop those racks.
Yeah.
And they're shopping the runway. And what we're seeing is designers they're selling their work, they're making money, and they're able to kind of turn this into a more sustainable business. And that's really what we want at the end of the day is we want to have a thriving fashion community here that is able to start businesses, make a living. If you're a student, like a high school student, develop a portfolio so you can go on to a really great fashion school, either here in Nebraska or on the coast. And so, yeah, we've been able to accomplish all of that in 15 years. So it'll be interesting to see what's next.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, as you kind of talk about that, just kind of going through the history of where it started and then how it's just evolved, and then you bringing in these other elements, and then truly, like you said, on the Sunday after, I want to talk a little bit more about that. But people can come and buy the designs, and are these local designers, or are other designers from the Midwest? Talk about what's the designer process?
Early on when I took over as the producer of this show, it was very much focused on local designers and regional designers, and that's kind of what we limited it to. But over the years, we still do a lot of support for our local designers, and we're constantly fostering, people who are interested in this career path. We even have a fashion camp we do in the summer that starts at age 6, goes up to age 17, and we have about 130 kids every summer in that program. So we're still doing a lot to foster local design talent, but what we're seeing is people are coming in from all over the world now. So we have a young lady from Iran, we've got somebody from the Philippines, 2 people from Africa, and then we have people coming in from all over the United States as well, in addition to our amazing local fashion designers.
Well, and speaking to that, sorry, gosh, I just had this great question in my head and then it left me. Okay, we're gonna move on.
It'll come back.
Yeah, it will, because that was having. I know what it was. So isn't Omaha Fashion Week one of like the 5th largest, or maybe, I don't know.
Technically, it's like the 4th largest.
Okay,
but
yeah.
The Chicago fashion scene, it has a lot going for it. It's got like 3 or 4 big design schools in Chicago.
Yeah.
And they used to have an event called Fashion Fusion, which was sponsored by the Chicago's mayor's office, and they'd hold it in Millennial Park. If they got that going again, technically speaking, they could surpass us. But right now, that's not happening. So we're technically the 4th largest. But if Chicago got it together, they'd be major competition.
Right. And that's kind of like, haven't they done Project Runway in Chicago? Or I mean, that I don't know if they have. I mean,
I know that like even like the brand Chicago Fashion Week has laid dormant for many, many years. And I think they're starting to do some things with it again. But the big show in Chicago was called Fashion Fusion, and it was a collaboration between the city and the fashion schools.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. That actually, my friend Alyssa, who owns Develop Model Management, she took me to that show many years ago, and that's what inspired me to start building tents downtown. I took a lot of ideas about how they set their tent up and implemented those here in Omaha.
Yeah, because a little bit, I mean, I love this conversation because, I mean, we're going to really talk about what's new and what's happening here soon with the 15th annual Omaha Fashion Week. But you were from, on just outside, no tents. And then you
rained out twice.
And then you moved to an area where for quite a while we were under the tents. And sometimes we had a tornado blow through, maybe once, or I don't know.
Or floods. There was a flood one time. One time, the luxury porta potty was spewing stuff. I mean, there were just so many exciting things that happened in the tents.
Such wonderful stories.
So many great memories for me. But actually, those were really great times. I mean, they were exciting. They were nerve-wracking. They were very expensive times, but it was good. And I think people, look back on that, and it was really impressive to walk into that tent and see this huge runway and all the chairs and the lights. And it felt like Bryant Park. It felt very much like, early days of when Fern Malice was in New York, bringing the New York fashion scene together. It felt like that. And that was exciting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was so cool. I mean, those were, regardless of what was happening, it just, it was so wonderful. And then you ended up buying a building.
We were the traumas of our tent days inspired us. After 3 years of that, I turned to my husband. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not a construction person. I was having to learn all about like three-phase power and how to work with the city to tap into like a fire hydrant to get water. The things that I know, I never thought I would need to know because of the tents. But I was like, okay, like we're spending all this money on these tents. Why don't we take that and put it into a building where we can have some stability for this show? And instead of putting all my energy into building a temporary building every season, I can put my energy into the designers and into the production and really making that a valuable experience for them that is going to allow them to really grow their business and grow their portfolios. And so we went on that mission of finding a building, and we found the Omaha Design Center, and that's now the permanent home of Fashion Week. And even New York can't say that they have a dedicated home for their.
Yeah, which is amazing, and it's beautiful. And when did you start the spring season? I just want to talk briefly about that.
That actually started, I believe, in 2010. That was actually my first time producing the show, was in the spring of 2010. It was something that the previous production team had kind of set in motion, and so I carried that through. It was a really small thing. I think initially it was designed to be more of like maybe it was 2009 they started it, but it was designed to be like a sneak peek for the big August show. And over time that then evolved into its own separate season with its own dedicated designers and collections.
Yeah, that it kind of has a life of its own, and it's really its own kind of entity, its own thing. So they have the synergy between the two. So so Omaha Fashion Week, when does it start and what can we expect?
So it starts August 24th. It goes to the 26th for our traditional designer showcases. And then on the 27th, we have Shop the Runway Sunday, which starts at 11 a.m. and it goes to 2 p.m. We serve donuts and mimosas and coffee, and you can shop the runway for those. And so, the shows are huge this season. We had a record number of designers apply. I think we had like 68 applications. And I think we accepted maybe 45 of those applications. And so designers have to fill out an online application. And then we select a number of those to then interview with our selection panel. And we score those interviews. The top scores get into the show. And so every night we have anywhere from 14 to 16 collections that we'll be showing, which is really different from years ago when we were like, wow, we have 6 designers tonight. Now we're like, 6 designers. It's not enough for half a show. So it's exciting. These are really big shows, and the work is interesting. One thing that's really changed is it used to be that designers would only do women's wear. And that was like 95% of what you saw on the runway was women's wear. Then the other 5% might be children's wear, it might be men's wear, or it could be something really avant-garde. And what we've seen over the years is that designers are now kind of designing in a more fluid way for men and women. And so their pieces are things that could be worn for men or women. And so you've got a variety of models on the runway, and we see not just men and women, but we see people of all shapes and sizes, and just a lot more diversity on the runway, which is really refreshing to see. And that mirrors what's happening in the industry overall. I would love to have a bigger conversation in the future. We'll get past Omaha Fashion Week, just about the design. I think there's just a conversation that to me I find fascinating. I will say, so I'm kind of glancing over this way because I'm looking at your website, omahafashionweek.com, which has a ton of information. It has the event schedule on here. You can buy tickets. This is just, there's nothing like this from an event perspective. And I have been to thousands of events. Yes, you have.
That it's just something to experience, and the energy is just, it's unlike anything that I mean, unless you're going to concert or a Pink. I know Pink's coming to town. I mean,
Oh,
it's
I know.
like that
Can't wait.
energy, but that's the kind of energy that you get here because the creative aspect of this is just off the charts
It
amazing.
is. And the creativity comes in a lot of different mediums through our
Yeah.
event. It's not just what you see on the runway, it's also even the environmental design of the space. Like we've really progressed that to where when you walk in, you know, you're seeing our ads right now. They're all over the internet, they're on the
Right.
television. We started the creative process for that with like a really core team of amazing people that I work with, like back in March, like right after the spring season ended, we
Right.
launched right into, okay, what are we going to do? What's the editorial going to look like? And so all the photos and video you're seeing right now that we're using to promote the event, those elements will be in the spatial design. When you walk
Yeah.
in, you're going to see
Yeah.
that theme being brought to life in a venue, like and it's
Right.
that's really fun. So the days leading up to shows, we're working literally 18 hours a day putting those elements in place. So it's an experience. It's not just walking into the venue and
Yes.
getting a drink and then sitting in your chair and watching a runway show. It's a full-on sensory experience when you walk in.
Yeah.
And our hope is that, you know, people appreciate the creativity, but also they feel welcome and they feel loved and they feel like they're able to create some special
Yeah.
memories through that experience.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we are out of time, unfortunately, because I could sit here and talk to you about this for
went
I don't know,
fast.
another hour or so or more. But so again, omahafashionweek.com. It starts on August 24th. There's all, I mean, everything you really need to know about this is on your website.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna
And
leave.
social media. Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
Again,
lot of
social
good stuff
media.
out.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
guys do great with social media. So encourage people to look in that direction as well. All right. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Any last words?
Yeah, I just encourage everyone to come out. All people are welcome. You don't have to be a fashion person. My thing, people always say, I'm not a fashion person, I can't go. Well, if you're wearing clothes, you're a fashion person and you are
Yes.
welcome at Omaha Fashion Week. So we'd love to see you there.
All right, Brooke. Thank you so much, my friend. What a great conversation. And as we say, I hope to see all of you on the runway.
Thank you, Andy. I hope to see you there too.